Hello and welcome to another session of Office Hours. My name is Adrian. I am the CEO and founder of Groundhogg, and today I'm here to help you get any of your burning questions answered. If it's about marketing, about Groundhogg, about email best practices, I happen to know a little bit about those subjects, and I'm here to ensure that you get answers to your questions to help you overcome any roadblocks that you're currently experiencing in your business or your implementation of our software. We have lots of exciting announcements today, lots of new third parties, new team members. It's all very, very, very exciting. But before we get started, just so you know, this is an open session, which means that we are answering your questions. And in order to do that, we need you to ask your questions. So if you see me constantly looking over to my right, that's because on my right I have a live feed of all of the questions that come in for office hours, and I get to repeat them on the call and then give you a clear and succinct answer to the best of my abilities. If I don't have an answer, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send you to the place where you can most likely get one, and where I go to get answers when I'm experiencing roadblocks and have burning questions. This session is being recorded. It will be posted to Groundhogg Academy as well as our YouTube channel. So if you want to catch the replay, you'll be able to catch it there. You can also catch the replay in the Facebook group itself. So why don't you go ahead, and if you're on the call with us today, go ahead and in the comment section, just type hello, let us know you're here and present, and we'll be happy to give you a shout out. So first announcement, tomorrow we have a webinar, a joint webinar with the BuddyBoss group of awesome developers and people. We are going to be talking about how you're going to be able to scale your BuddyBoss community using marketing automation, and specifically our integration, Groundhogg's integration with BuddyBoss. So make sure that you register for that. The link to register for the BuddyBoss webinar is being posted in the comments section right now. It's going to be a really, really great time. It's going to take around an hour and a half, and it's at 4 p.m. EST. So if you're on the East Coast like I am, or if you are in Central Time, it's 3 p.m. CST. So this will be recorded as well. So no need to worry about that if you can't make it live. We will provide you with a recording. Otherwise, I really, really hope to see you on the call. We're going to be doing Q&A for this call as well tomorrow. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in and ask any BuddyBoss related questions. We have a new support rock star. We brought her onto the team last week officially with an announcement. But for anybody who was not on office hours last week, hopefully you're on office hours this morning. Jessie is our new rock star. She's actually also a certified partner, which is awesome. She's super brilliant and is going to be able to help you with your support questions, your implementation questions. And she's going to be working with us part-time 3 days a week. So that's awesome. You can tag her in the Facebook group to get help from her directly at Jessie Brown in the Facebook group. And you also will probably see her in the future in tickets and conversations and on office hours as well. So everybody give a big shout out to Jessie and welcome her to the team. I just also want to quickly let you know a little bit about what we're working on. I get a lot of questions about roadmap, and no, we do not publish a roadmap. There's a lot of reasons for this. Number one, we don't necessarily want everyone to know what we're working on all the time. But also technology and needs shift so quickly and rapidly that publishing a roadmap is basically promising empty expectations or setting a lot of false expectations, because by the time an integration is created, that company may no longer be in service or just irrelevant based on the current needs of the market. So we don't publish a roadmap, but I will let you know a little bit about what we're working on. We are working diligently on updating a lot of the UI in our plugin, specifically at the moment in the funnel editor, and making that just a much more friendly and simpler experience. I spent a lot of time working inside Groundhogg V1, actually, our original funnel builder, SendGrid, MailChimp, and ActiveCampaign, and what we've done is we've compiled a lot of the aspects and UI features that we liked from each of those different builders and have compiled them into a Groundhogg friendly builder, and it's going to look something a little bit like what you see in the screenshot here. It's a fully React-based, so it's going to be super responsive, and it's going to be just really like instant edits, so no more clicking that save and publish button every time you make a change. That was really annoying. So it's all going to be auto-save now, and it's just going to make everything so much simpler. And you know what, why don't we just go ahead and give you a little bit of a demo here. So it's nowhere near release ready. Actually, there's a lot of components that are still just not implemented yet, like the editing. But I can show you kind of the basic gist of what you're going to be able to do. So we've broken down and actually grouped together various components of the funnel. So we're grouping together benchmarks, and we're grouping together actions into these two specific groupings versus our current editor where it's all just one big list, sortable list. And you'll be able to sort the steps within their specific groupings. So I can drag actions down from this grouping into this one down here, and I can drag this benchmark up here and put it at the top. I can also drag benchmarks into actions and have them break up the group. There we go. So that's going to break up that group now. And it's just going to make it a lot easier to understand what's actually happening. We also have a lot of new text in the funnel itself in order to better explain how things are working. So for example, here at the beginning, start the funnel when the following benchmarks are triggered, skip to this point when these benchmarks are triggered. If we have a benchmark at the end, it'll explicitly state that the funnel will end after these benchmarks are triggered because it brings them to the end and there's nothing happening after that. And we also are doing an interesting thing with timers. So currently we have timers as actions. We have like the delay timer, the field timer, and we have the date timer. Now, in this version of the funnel editor, we're actually going to be phasing out timer steps. And instead, we are going to be replacing them with step-specific delays. That means each step will have its own delay configuration. So each step, send email, will have its own delay configuration versus having to break all of the steps up with specific timer steps, which is not... well, since I came from Infusionsoft, that's what we did. We broke everything up with timers, but it's not the most intuitive and it's not the simplest. So instead, we were phasing out timers completely, and we were going to replace them with step-specific delays. And that's going to look a little bit something like this. So you can see that I have 2 email steps here. Let's go ahead and remove that delay timer. I have 2 email steps here, and each of them have their own specific delay. I can then click on that delay, and that will bring up the delay editor, and I will be able to choose the kind of delay that I want. So we're going to maintain dynamic with fields, the date, the fixed delay time. So let's go ahead and we're going to choose a fixed delay. I will be able to select the amount of time that I want to wait. So let's say 3 hours. And then let's say I only want this email to go out on weekdays. So we're only going to run it on a weekday. And I want it to run between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So I only want it to go out during, let's say, office hours or something. So go ahead and click save. Now what's going to happen is anyone who enters this funnel is going to reach this step, and it's going to wait till an appropriate time within office hours in order to send that email. I can then send the second email and say I want this email to go out 3 hours after the last one at any time, because it doesn't matter at this point. And there we go. So we can now configure step-specific delays for these steps without having to mess about with ordering timers correctly. And I think that's going to make creating funnels a lot faster and a lot more understandable. So we're excited about these changes. Adding steps is going to be really easy. We just click on the add benchmark or add action. We can also use this little drop down to create benchmarks with actions as well. Click on add action, and it's going to come in from the right. And finally, we're going to get some descriptions of what these things actually do. And it's going to be nice and beautiful and colorful, which is nice. So we can just click on anyone. Let's say I want to add a note. go ahead and click on add note. That's going to get added to the funnel, and then I can go ahead and edit that step, although that's not implemented yet. So I can't really show you that yet. But anyway, this is our new funnel editor. Very, very, very excited, and hopefully our team will be able to learn a lot from this implementation and extend this kind of functionality to other areas of Groundhogg, like the contact record and the email builder and the settings. And there's just a lot of stuff that we're going to be able to improve in our product over the next little while with the introduction of our React interface. So very, very, very exciting stuff. So let's talk about some new third-party integrations that have come out recently. Going to give a few shout outs here. So number one is Uncanny Automator. So for those of you who don't know what Uncanny Automator is, it's made by the Uncanny Corporation. They create a bunch of epic WordPress plugins. Most popular is Uncanny add-ons for LearnDash, which you may know if you are a LearnDash user. They have this plugin, which is a little bit lesser known than their Uncanny add-ons for LearnDash, but it's basically like Zapier for WordPress. It's similar to WP Fusion in that it helps connect Groundhogg to multiple plugins, except specifically these guys, it's not a CRM to plugin relationship like WP Fusion is. They are a plugin to plugin relationship, meaning Groundhogg is treated like any other plugin, and you can connect multiple plugins based on simple automation recipes, kind of like how you would with Zapier. So it's really, really, really cool. I highly recommend you go check it out if you're learning to integrate Groundhogg with products that we don't offer direct integrations for. You can see that they have BuddyBoss and LearnPress and LearnDash and easy digital downloads. Lots of really cool recipes for creating great automation from Groundhogg to other plugins. So go ahead and check Uncanny Automator out. And very similarly, there's another plugin that does this as well. It's called AutomatorWP. A little bit newer than, a lot newer than Uncanny Automator. It's basically the same thing. Zapier for WordPress plugins. You can connect and integrate Groundhogg based on a variety of triggers to trigger actions in other plugins. Louis asks, can Uncanny replace WP Fusion? No, I wouldn't say so, because something that WP Fusion does that these plugins don't is data syncing. So syncing WordPress users to Groundhogg contact records. WP Fusion manages that relationship very, very, very well, versus these two plugins are typically, if something happens, do something somewhere else and do that one time. So there's not really data syncing going on. It's a little bit of a lower level of data management than WP Fusion would offer. But for things like if someone fills out a form or buys a WooCommerce or an EDD product, then you can trigger add a tag in a funnel or etc. So it's usually those just one-to-one relationships, versus WP Fusion is really an all-encompassing syncing data management solution. So it won't replace WP Fusion entirely. There's a little bit of overlap, but if you're using WP Fusion, I'd recommend you stick with it. Last but not least on the third-party integrations list is a Thanks.io integration. And Thanks.io is super cool because essentially what happens is you can sign up for an account with them. You can then integrate a step into the funnel builder, and what that will do is send a postcard or a printed letter in the mail for that additional wow factor. I know that whenever I get mail from services that I sign up for, I'm like, wow, that's so cool, and it makes me feel good and feel special. And Thanks.io allows you to do that. This integration is brought to you by Colin Longworth and the WooNinja guys. If you're not familiar with WooNinja, they create a bunch of Groundhogg-specific extensions. They're currently the only paid third-party add-on provider that I'm familiar with that does Groundhogg-specific extensions and integrations. They are very, very, very affordably priced at like $20 a month for everything, which I think is way too cheap. So you should take advantage of it while you can before Colin smartens up and starts charging more. But there's lots of great extensions for a variety of services here. Shopify, Thinkific, Thanks.io, Ultimate Member, Paid Memberships Pro, lots of cool stuff. So you can go to WooNinja.io, link in the chat there, to go check out this new integration. All right, so that's the end of announcements. We are open. This is going to be another open Q&A session to make sure everybody gets their questions answered. No specific topic for today. So if you have a question or want some advice or best practices, I am open to providing you with answers to the best of my ability. So let's talk. We can talk about email marketing best practices, funnel best practices. We can do demos of specific integrations or plugins that you are looking to maybe add to your technology stack. You can ask about future development and updates. Lots of things you can ask about. And in order for office hours to move on, we're going to need you to not be shy and go ahead and ask your questions in the comments. There's no such thing as a silly question. All questions are valid, and you will not be there will be no judgment if it's a simple answer. My job here is to make sure that you are able to overcome any roadblocks that you're currently experiencing to moving the needle on your project and on your business. So I'm going to give it a minute or so, minute 30 seconds for some questions to come in. So if there's a little bit of dead silence, don't worry about it. And if not, we'll do our best to find something to talk about and take up the time. All right, so we have a question from D. Sarwan. D asks, is there a connection to Shopify, getting customers from Shopify into the funnel? Yes, there is, and I just mentioned WooNinja. So WooNinja is run by a guy named Colin Longworth. He's incredibly smart. I tried to hire him once. He said no and decided to go his own way. And he's really killing it, making awesome Groundhogg extensions and third-party stuff. So one of his extensions he offers is for Shopify, the Groundhogg Shopify integration. And I'm just going to post this link in the chat there for you. You can buy it separately, or you can buy it on its own. And I recommend you just buy the whole plan, because I think the price is only $40 more than the single extension for a whole year. And so it's really just freaking amazing value, and allows you to get the support, the premium support, because you're going to want that, and all of the other great stuff. And I'm going to also post this link in the pricing area there. And this is what will help you get information from Shopify into Groundhogg. Alternatively, your really only other solution to that is, I think, a tool like Zapier. Zapier, Shopify. And you can then send a webhook from Zapier into Groundhogg. If you don't want to mess with webhooks and you just don't want to worry about any complicated setup, spend the $120 for the year on Colin Longworth stuff and just pick up the extension and the integration. And he's going to help you with it. He does premium support as well, so he'll help you with any questions that you have in implementation. Money well spent here. So hopefully that answers your question, D. Michael asks, any advice on how to use Groundhogg in a retargeting manner? Yes. So recently, we added a new report. Michael, so if you go to the Groundhogg reporting dashboard and go ahead and click on contacts, you'll be able to scroll to the bottom, and there's a new table called engagement. And engagement will show you the number of engaged, unengaged, marketable, and non-marketable contacts that you have currently on your list. And my big fat face is blocking it. So let me just get my face out of the way there. There we go. So we have all of these numbers here on the right. And what you can do is you can click on any of those numbers and that will give you a list of all of the unengaged people. I'm not going to click on mine because this is my actual website and I don't want to reveal my entire list of people. So I'm going to not click on that number, but you can click on that number, then export that list and upload it to Facebook and then remarket to those email addresses specifically. Facebook's remarketing tool allows you to upload contact email addresses. They're going to find any associated email address for any of their members. And you'll be able to retarget that as a custom audience. And here is the article. Is this the right one? No, that's not a good article. There's a better article because I've used it before. Here it is. Except if I can get past all the pop-ups. Here's a good article. Oh my God, a third pop-up. Well, I guess we'll just have to live with the pop-ups. There we go, Michael. So here is a link with an in-depth tutorial on how to upload your email list as a Facebook custom audience so you can remarket to them specifically. Note, bigger lists tend to work better because you have better reach, and if you only upload like 1,000 emails, it's going to be expensive. So because they have to get like really targeted, and it's a little bit more expensive than, for example, opening up a larger list where they can spread out the budget a little bit more. So just be wary of that. But hopefully that provides you some advice, Michael. So go to reporting, click on your unengaged contacts, get the number, export the list, and then upload them to Facebook as a custom audience. You'll be able to then retarget your ads at them. I did this once, and what you can do actually, and what I did when I first launched Groundhogg, which by the way, what didn't work out for me, but your results may differ, is there is a company called BuiltWith. Although I don't know what niche you're in specifically, so this may not be relevant, but I'll share the tactic anyway. There is a company called BuiltWith. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to look up sites that are that use specific technology. So for example, what I did was I was able to look up anybody who used MailChimp and see the usage statistics of people that used MailChimp on their site. And then what you can do is you can actually go ahead and download that lead list for a monthly membership price, which was really expensive. It was like $500 USD a month. And then you could go ahead and you could download that list and then export that list, which contains email addresses, and then upload it to Facebook as a custom audience. I did this in the beginning. It didn't work for me, probably because my ads sucked and I had zero social proof at that time. It may work a little bit differently now if I tried it at a time and I know a little bit more about my audience and I know a little bit more about Facebook ads, and that I should probably just hire someone else to do it for me. But this is something that you might be able to use effectively if you have that social proof in existence. So if there's a kind of customer that you work with, especially if you're like an agency, so if you're an agency, then you'd be able to look up technologies that your customers typically use. So let's say you specialize in helping people with their e-commerce. You'd be able to look up the lead list of people who use WooCommerce and then download that lead list, or WooCommerce memberships. If you want to work with SaaS specific or membership specific companies, you'd be able to download this lead list and then upload it to Facebook as a custom audience and then do some remarketing to them. So this is a strategy that you could use. I was unable to implement it effectively, but it is an option to anybody who's interested in working like this. There are other things you can do as well, though I don't recommend buying lists from unreputable sources. But you can do technology lookups or profile lookups, etc. Or you could buy leads or buy lists from lead generators, lead generation specific companies. You can't email those people, but you can certainly always just upload them Facebook as a custom audience and have them opt in on their own. So hopefully this provides a little bit of direction to you, Michael. Mark Williams just asked, any plans for automatic update of Facebook custom audiences? Unfortunately, it's just not possible. Groundhogg is as self-hosted software, does not have a central hub of data in order to facilitate an integration with Facebook. So the answer to that is it's just not possible unless we built a SaaS component of Groundhogg, but then it wouldn't be open source anymore, and that has a whole bunch of other implications. So Zapier is really the only effective way to update a Facebook custom audience through Groundhogg. Send a webhook to Facebook, upload the custom audience. It's not going to happen as an extension because that would require you going through the whole Facebook app developer process, which is not easy, and I have done before for other projects. And it's way too much of an expectation to put on our customers. It's much simpler to just open up Zapier and set up that integration. So hopefully that answers your question, Mark. I'm sorry that's not the answer you're looking for. Louis asks, in this new release funnel builder, do you plan to add yes/no actions like in ActiveCampaign? So in our new funnel editor, we do not plan on, we're still going to keep it exactly the same way that we've always done before. It's going to be benchmark actions, benchmark actions, benchmark actions, and that's just the way that it's going to stay because we find that our less experienced customers who aren't familiar with marketing automation typically reach success faster in this format. We will be implementing the conditional logic extension that we do currently have into this funnel editor, if you have the extension, of course, which will allow you to do most of the automation or the conditional logic that you're going to need, but we are not going to be implementing yes or no or any sort of branching into this new funnel editor. It's going to stay pretty much the same structure as it always has been. It's just going in this new format that's easier to understand and easier to modify, edit, drag, and it's going to be easier for newcomers and the less experienced to get up to speed faster. So again, I'm sorry if that's not the answer that you're looking for, but it's what we have always maintained and what we'll continue to champion is this linear flow that is going to provide users with the simplest path to success. So we are in our open Q&A section. We are taking questions. We are answering them to the best of our abilities. We are answering questions on any of topics related to marketing, email marketing, Groundhogg. You want a demo of an extension? We can absolutely do that. Best practices. We have a lot of questions about Facebook custom audiences. If you didn't hear those answers, happy to go over it again. We have new announcements about integrations, so lots of things that you can ask about. So if you're experiencing some sort of roadblock in your business right now, we are here to help you overcome that roadblock to the best of our abilities. I'm going to give it another minute or so, let some questions come in. If there's no questions, happy to move on and find something else that we can talk about. If you're just joining and you don't know how to ask a question, I should mention, we do have a chat live, and if you see me constantly looking over to my right, that's because I'm constantly looking over at the chat. So what you get to do is you just get to type out your question in the chat, and I will then read out the question and then provide you with an answer. And speaking of questions, we have one, and Michael is asking, how is it going at Mailhawk? Mailhawk is going good. We are working out still, full transparency, there is a current issue with deliverability for any of the Microsoft Outlook domains. They are the sticklers of the email industry. They really get nothing past. So we're currently working, I'm working with my partner. His name is Mark, and he runs another email company called Send13. He has contacts there, so we're currently working on that at the moment. It's been an ongoing process. But delivery everywhere else is pretty rock solid. We're consistently inboxing in Gmail and Yahoo and other email distributors. So it's good. I'm really happy with the software in general. We are in the process of implementing a complaint feedback loop, meaning so if someone clicks the spam button in Gmail or in Microsoft or something like that, we're going to be able to inform you that they did that. It's going to automatically mark that person as a complaint in Groundhogg, so it's going to be really nice. So that's currently a work in progress. What does work at the moment, though, is if an email bounces, we can automatically mark that contact as bounced in Groundhogg as well, so that you stop emailing them and you don't have to worry about them. Because your follow-up question here, Michael, is I was really interested in how Mailhawk and Groundhogg work together. So Mailhawk includes a specific Groundhogg integration in it. It's not Groundhogg dependent. You can use Mailhawk on any website that needs to send email. But if you have Groundhogg installed, we have the bounce and complaint feedback loop. So it will be able to mark a contact as bounced or complained in the Groundhogg contact list as well, so that any further automation doesn't run based on their opt-in status, etc. So it's really good all around. I'm really happy with how it's working, besides the Microsoft issue, which again is currently a work in progress. So hopefully that answers your question, Michael. If anybody has no idea what I'm talking about, Mailhawk is a email delivery service that specializes in delivering WordPress email, Groundhogg email, WooCommerce payment receipts, etc. We have special delivery tools for WordPress specific email. WordPress email typically has a difficult time inboxing, and we are doing our level best in order to make sure that all of your emails inbox successfully. So this is a tool that I myself am a co-founder of as well. I have another co-founder. His name is Mark Goldman. I mentioned he runs another email delivery company called Send13. We work together on creating this solution for WordPress, and you can get to it and install it directly through Groundhogg. If you go to your Groundhogg settings area, under email, I already have it connected, but there's a button up here at the top where it will allow you to, there's a button that says connect to Mailhawk. It'll automatically install Mailhawk. I think our pricing is pretty comparable to tools like SendGrid or Elastic Email. We have a nice get it started basic plan right at $14.97 a month. I think that's very, very, very reasonable. If you look at SendGrid, SendGrid is $14.99 a month. So totally comparable, and the plans are pretty much the same. So you can go ahead and check out mailhawk.io. We're sticking with the .io because that's the thing to do if you have software now, is you get .io email addresses. Although I'm working on getting the .com. We actually found out that it came up for auction, so that's something that we're working on, is getting that .com. We'll see where that goes. Chris says, awesome innovation. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we're pretty happy with it. There's some stuff to do still, but it's getting there, and I think it's going to be an epic solution for solving WordPress email delivery problems. Because like setting up SendGrid and stuff is complicated. There's like all of those API keys and records that you have to do. AWS is like another level. With Mailhawk, the process for setting up is you don't even need to do DNS. We'll actually manage DNS for you, although DNS is optional. You can set it up. And once you do, it's only 2 records. And then after that, you're pretty much good to go. And if you set up other domains, we actually use the DNS information for your other domain as a sender for your other domains, so you don't even have to do it multiple times. But again, also optional, so you can continue to do that. Anyway, we just have lots of ways that we make it much easier for WordPress site owners to get email going. So That's mailhawk.io for anybody who wants an easier way to send email. All right, we are still in our Q&A period. I'm going to give it another minute or so. We're at the 35-minute mark, so that's a pretty good length for office hours. If there are no new questions in 60 seconds or so, we will we'll end the session, although as soon as I was finishing that sentence, Michael drops in a question here. Michael's asking, would you use the HTML section to set it up on Thrive leads generation like Groundhogg? How would you have both Mailhawk and Groundhogg? So there's two questions here. So the first question is about Thrive Architect. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what Thrive Architect is, it is created by Thrive Themes. These guys have a bunch of conversion-focused products. Specifically page builders, opt-in forms, stuff like that. These are good products if you have zero intention of integrating anything else. These are not friendly products to integrate, and one of our biggest feature requests was, can we integrate Thrive? And the answer is no, we can't. Everything has to be taken care of by the Thrive Themes team, and the response we got from them is we're not big enough to integrate. So for stuff like their forms, you have to use and embed either our shortcode or our HTML element, and you can't use their forms, which is a bit of a bummer. However, there is a workaround to this, Michael. If you want to use their forms, you have to select the HTML form integration, and there's probably an article on this. It's cold in here. Let's see. The problem is their documentation on this can sometimes be lackluster. Oh, it's because I spelled HTML wrong. I should probably do that correctly. Here we go. So this is for something called LeadsBridge, which is not their official one. This is probably what we're looking for. Right. Autoresponder form code, Michael. So you're going to want to follow this article, which walks you through the process of using form code to perform the lead generation, or sorry, the form integration. And this is exactly why we provide HTML form code for our form builder, is so it will work with Thrive, basically. That was the biggest need for why we actually provide that option. Note to the wise, it only really works well for basic contact fields, first name, last name, email. It doesn't work all that great when you start getting into the custom fields like checkboxes, radio buttons, drop downs. So stick with the basics and you will be better off. It gets buggy when you start introducing a bunch of custom fields, not on our end, but on Thrive's end. We used to do this a lot with Infusionsoft in order to do custom fields, because their API integrations don't handle custom fields. So when we were doing it with Infusionsoft, it got buggy when we started doing custom fields and stuff. My recommendation for anybody who's looking for a page builder should really just use Elementor and our Elementor integration, because they have nice forms that support custom fields, and I find that their software is actually just easier to use. We used to build a lot of stuff with Thrive Architect, and I used to be a really big champion of their products. And then we found this, and we ended up switching everything over. But that's just down to really personal preference as well. So you don't have to listen to my advice, but just some food for thought. Second question from Michael was, how would you have both Mailhawk and Groundhogg? So Mailhawk is just email delivery. There's no CRM component. There's no automation component. It just delivers email, much like how our SendGrid or SMTP or AWS extension just delivers email. Mailhawk is a utility tool. It's not a platform, so you can have both installed, and Groundhogg will queue up the email and Mailhawk will send it for you. So they're actually really designed to work together for the best possible delivery of your WordPress email. Hopefully that answers your question, Michael. Alrighty, we are at the 40-minute mark. I'm going to give it another minute for questions. If you have a question, drop it into the comments section, and we're going to answer it to the best of our abilities. If after 1 minute there's no more questions, 40 minutes is a good length for office hours. We will cut the session and queue up all the questions for next week. Okay, so I'm not seeing any new questions come in. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the session. I want to thank everybody for coming today. If you need additional help, and we have a lot of resources for you to go to and learn about Groundhogg. We have our academy, we have a few free courses, and we're adding a new one that should be published this week. I was supposed to get to it last week, but didn't. It was actually made by Will Middleton, who some of you may know from the Lifter LMS community. He did a really great job showing you how to build a funnel on how to get more reviews. So that should be coming this week. So free courses at academy.groundhogg.io. If you prefer to not learn anything and have someone do all of the work for you because you're too busy running your business, we have solutions for you as well. We have a certified partner directory. We have a bunch of certified partners in there who are willing to get on a call with you and learn about your business and help you implement Groundhogg and superior marketing automation strategies. So you can go to our certified partner directory, link right there. And if you know a colleague or have a friend who owns a business or just someone that might benefit from implementing marketing automation with Groundhogg, if they buy something, we want to reward you for that. You can become an affiliate. Most affiliates are accepted, especially if I know that you're already on the list. We offer 10% recurring commissions. That means 10% every year that they renew their subscription. You go to affiliate area /registration for more. If you're not following us, you should be. We are on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at GroundhoggWP for all of those links there. We post this recording of office hours to YouTube as well, so make sure that you're subscribed so you can always watch the replay. And if you have yet to leave a review would really help. You can go to wordpress.org /plugins /groundhogg. That's where we collect reviews on our repository listing. Reviews allow us to get more customers, which means we have more funds to reinvest into the company and provide better tools like our brand new funnel editor. So if you want to see continual improvement without having to spend any more money, then you can help us out by going to wordpress.org /plugins /groundhogg and leaving a 5-star review. Thank you in advance. If you have further questions, you can continue to comment on this thread. We'll be monitoring it and continue to answer questions. You can post in the Facebook group. That's what it's there for. You can message our live chat. You can open a ticket. You can reach out to us on Twitter. Lots of ways to get in touch with us so that we can help you out. I want to thank everybody for joining me today for this session of Office Hours. If you didn't get your question answered, you didn't have an opportunity to ask your question, don't worry. You will have next session, which will be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Tuesday to get your questions answered, or of course use any of the other methods of getting questions answered listed there. I want to thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see everyone next week.